as elected representatives being able to decide with the public's consent, not with a Brussels commissioner.
Funny you should mention elected representatives deciding things. It's very relevant to our next subject. It's been called the tiara on the head of a fabulous city, but last week opponents of the Garden Bridge, including our guest here, Kate Hoey, made a last-ditch attempt to stop the multi-million-pound project in its tracks. So how does she get on? Raphael Sheridan has been taking a look.
It's 3 years since the Garden Bridge plans took root, but with allegations of a rigged procurement process and complaints over a £60 million investment from the public purse, the project's path has not been a bed of roses. But last November, after initially opposing the plans, landowners Lambeth Council signalled their support for the bridge when 20 of the £60 million public investment was converted into a loan. That hasn't stopped local councillors responsible for the land on the south side of the bridge from voicing their opposition to the scheme.
We've been steadfast in our opinions about this bridge from the beginning. We've said it's wrong, it's in the wrong location, it shouldn't be publicly funded in any shape or form. It's going to absolutely dramatically change the South Bank and its beauty.
Last week, they, along with Vauxhall MP Kate Hoey, wrote this letter to a group called the Coin Street Community Builders, which owns the lease to the land on the South Bank. It said,
"We urge you and your colleagues to do all in your power to resist any attempts by the Mayor or his supporters in government to force the Garden Bridge on the people of Waterloo and London."
And this week, Coin Street Community Builders responded, saying,
"We believe that it is our right and duty as the body that is responsible for this part of the South Bank public realm to impose conditions that ensure that the promised benefits are delivered and the impacts mitigated. For this reason, we have refused to surrender our lease as originally proposed."
The Garden Bridge Trust, who are responsible for overseeing the project, said they were confident of it being resolved.
We've got a number of conditions that we need to discharge with Lambeth before we begin construction, and we're working really closely with some of our key stakeholders like Coin Street, local residents, other local businesses, both north and south, and making sure that we address all of their concerns.
Lambeth Council told Sunday Politics London that the final few planning conditions are still to be discharged over the coming weeks, and its negotiations with Coin Street Community Builders on the lease are still ongoing. So, with construction due to begin in the summer, are its opponents in the Last Chance Saloon?
Last Chance Saloon, Kate Hoey. Your letter to the leaseholder, Coin Street, is a bit desperate, isn't it? In our last discussion, you were talking about directly elected representatives, and here you are asking a non-elected body to make the final decision.
No, I mean, this is Coin Street Community Builders who have a lease, a long-term lease on this piece of land. Lambeth Council have to agree that Coin Street could hand it over to the Garden Bridge to build this big building on it. Lambeth Council have to get Coin Street to agree. We're going through a whole series of things. The procurement policy of how it got to the stage it is has been shocking. The planning application and the way it's been handled. This week, for example, they've agreed to a small number of toilets, 8 toilets, when Clapham Picture House has 14 toilets. This is one of these huge entertainment things. There's a whole series of things wrong with this.
But let me come back to
so
democracy.
Badly handled.
Yeah.
And Coin Street ultimately Coin Street as the community builders with a lot of resident support will have the final say.
But
and
they are not an elected body, and the only real political opposition here is hyper-local. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's you.
Cross-party.
It may be cross-party, but it's you, it's 3 ward members and 2 London Assembly members.
Nonsense.
Meanwhile, the rest of the council, the MP whose constituency is on the other side, your own London mayoral candidate, they all support the bridge.
No, well, I think the important people to me in this are the residents and my constituents who live there, who are going to have to put up with this, which is spoiling views of London, which is actually cost £60 million of public money when there are hugely important projects.
That's not strictly true, is it? £60 million?
£30 million directly from George Osborne. Directly from George Osborne.
Well,
£30 million then from TfL that is supposedly
20 million
going
of
to be
which is
paid back.
Two-thirds of
Going
which
to
is
be
a loan.
paid
Let me bring
back.
Mark Field in
over
on this.
50 years.
Let me bring Mark Field. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The other side of the bridge lands in your constituency.
It does, yeah.
And
He's got
you're on
no
the other
residents
side
there.
of the argument. But it is a
why.
vanity. It's a vanity project. It's not necessary for London, is it?
Listen, where I would just the one small point I would agree with the lady from Lambeth Council earlier on is that yes, in an ideal world, yes, do we need another bridge there, or would it be better to have another bridge further eastwards? I accept that.
That's a pretty big point.
Well, no. But here's the thing. I mean, I think this is a fantastic opportunity to really has a showcase for urban design and for architecture and for the whole landscaping that we're going to have. It will actually link up Temple, one of the most underused tube stations on the District Line, and provide an opportunity for a much more agreeable pedestrian crossing than either Waterloo or Blackfriars Bridge, which are either side. And the other thing is, on the financing side, yes, it is an expensive project at £175 million. 77% of that is being raised privately.
And they haven't got it yet.
There is an ongoing issue.
They've got quite a lot of it there.
We are talking about public money, and it may seem like a small amount, the 10 million that remains from TfL, but if this is not a profitable financial venture, there will be a cost to Londoners every single year going forwards, millions of pounds.
But it's going to be a terrific tourist attraction, as well as being of day-to-day use for Londoners who want to go from the north to south or vice versa.
Just go down there any weekend, any day. There are thousands of tourists going past there already. The concept may be wonderful. It is in the wrong place. There is absolutely no reason, when the country is facing cutbacks all over the place, that 60 million ultimately of public money is being spent on this. It
Kate
is
Hoey,
a vanity.
can I ask you
We're
one
going
more?
to stop it, and it will not happen.
All right,
and I pretty well
want to ask you
guarantee
how.
it won't happen.
If Coin Street allows this to go through, is it game
Well,
over?
it hasn't got all its planning permission yet anyway. Then it has to get the private money.
Stop it happening,
and it's spoiling the most wonderful views of Somerset House and St Paul's Cathedral, and we are absolutely ridiculous that we're going down this line.
I hear your passion. Now, it's time for the rest of the news in just